The human brain has more neural connections than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Over 100 trillion synapses firing away. And back in 1938, Napoleon Hill had an incredible theory about how all those connections might be broadcasting our thoughts like radio waves.
That timing is fascinating. Right during the golden age of radio. No wonder he gravitated toward broadcasting as his central metaphor.
Exactly. He was working with Alexander Graham Bell and Dr. Elmer Gates when they developed this theory that our brains function like radio stations, both transmitting and receiving thoughts through what they call the ether. Pretty wild concept for the 1930s.
You know what's remarkable? Even though their understanding was limited by the science of their time, they weren't entirely off base about brain-to-brain communication. We now know about neural synchronization and mirror neurons.
Hill went deep into explaining how emotions can amplify these thought vibrations. He specifically identified sex as the most powerful emotion for increasing these mental broadcasts, followed by other strong emotional states.
From a modern neuroscience perspective, there's actually some validity there. Strong emotions trigger specific neurotransmitters that enhance brain activity and focus.
The way Hill breaks down this mental broadcasting system is fascinating. He identifies three key components: the subconscious mind as the sending station, creative imagination as the receiving set, and autosuggestion as the operational method.
That reminds me of current research into brainwave patterns. Though I have to say, his numbers about brain complexity are mind-blowing. What were those statistics again?
Oh yes, he cited Dr. C. Judson Herrick from the University of Chicago, who described the number of connections between brain cells as the number 1 followed by 15 million zeros. While that specific number isn't accurate by today's standards, modern neuroscience estimates around 86 billion neurons with trillions of connections.
Speaking of research, those experiments at Duke University that Hill mentioned were pretty groundbreaking. What exactly did Dr. Ryan discover?
Well, they found that certain individuals could consistently identify cards without seeing them, producing results that had virtually no statistical probability of being random chance. Even more interesting, these abilities work just as effectively at hundreds of miles apart as they did in the same room.
The conditions for optimal performance are particularly fascinating. These abilities actually worked better when people were alert and focused, rather than in altered states.
Right. They discovered that stimulants improved performance while narcotics decreased it. It's like they were conducting early research into optimal brain states. This ties directly into Hill's practical application through what he called the mastermind concept.
Tell me more about how he actually implemented these ideas in his own work.
He developed this system where he would sit with two staff members at a conference table. They would clearly state the problem they were trying to solve, then engage in a harmonious discussion that seemed to tap into knowledge beyond their individual experiences, like creating a mental fusion accessing a broader field of information.
That's remarkably similar to modern research on collective intelligence. We now have evidence showing that diverse groups working in harmony often produce solutions that individuals working alone would never discover.
Hill's emphasis on intangible forces throughout the chapter is particularly powerful. He points out how humans can't fully comprehend or control forces like gravity or electricity, yet these invisible forces shape our entire world. He suggests thought itself might be the most powerful intangible force.
Looking at the technological and social changes since Hill wrote this, it's hard to argue with that assessment. Every major advancement started as a thought in someone's mind.
You know what's really fascinating? Hill combines practical business advice with almost mystical philosophy. He's essentially saying that while we might not understand all the mechanics of how the brain works, we can still learn to use it more effectively.
The way he describes it almost sounds like he's predicting our modern understanding of networking and digital communication, like a mental internet decades before the actual internet existed.
Exactly. And when you look at successful people today, many talk about similar concepts, though they use different terminology. They discuss networking, collaboration, and mastermind groups. But the core idea remains the same. Minds working together are more powerful than minds working in isolation.
So, how do you think Hill's ideas about thought vibrations and emotional amplification apply in today's world of constant digital connectivity?
In many ways, his insights seem more relevant than ever. We're dealing with unprecedented levels of mental input and output through our devices and social media. Understanding how to effectively broadcast and receive information, how to filter signal from noise, these are crucial skills in our modern world.
That parallel between Hill's thought vibrations and today's digital signals is really striking when you think about it.
And as we develop more sophisticated brain computer interfaces and artificial intelligence, Hill's concepts about mental broadcasting might become more literal than even he imagined. We might actually be moving toward a future where direct brain to brain communication isn't just a metaphor, but a reality.
So, while some of his specific mechanisms might have been limited by the science of his time, his core insights about human potential and the power of directed thought remain incredibly relevant.
Exactly. Whether we're talking about personal success, technological innovation, or solving global challenges, understanding how to effectively harness and direct our mental energy, both individually and collectively, might be the most crucial skill we can develop. Hill was pointing us toward that understanding almost a century ago.